So I wanted to show you this little tutorial basically on just some basic shapes. Just something to do to help shake off that morning designer block, or whenever you have designer or creative block and you're just trying to break out of it and do some better designs. We all get it. It happens to anybody that does design work, where you just after a while designs just don't look good and you're struggling to make something work. So this is a little something I like to do just to kind of shake that off. And it's basically just working with simple shapes and geometry and just kind of coming up with a quick little design to help wake your brain up. So I've created this canvas. It's 1200 by 1200 pixels, and I've simply pulled out a couple guides to the X and Y axis to find the center point. So I'm at 600 and 600. And then using the elliptical marquee tool, just simply from the center, hold Alt and Shift at the same time and just start creating some circles. So make a new layer and go ahead and just create a circle. I'm starting with white as the fill color. And just go ahead and create another circle, and we're going to delete the inside so we just have a ring like so. And then what we do is grab your polygon lasso tool, and then from the center just start taking pieces of this and deleting them. So we're just going to kind of break them up, and we're gonna create this circular disc shape. So you can see I've just kind of deleted out some pretty large sections of this, and so I'm just going to go ahead and make a new layer, and I'm going to do it all over again, but I'm going to make the next ring a different thickness. So get kind of close, and let's make this one pretty thick. So I'm going to delete the middle out, but I'm going to make it about twice as thick as that outside ring that we first did, and do something like that. And you're just basically going to keep doing this a bunch of times and build up this circular ring shape. And you'll see as we start building on it more, we're going to end up with kind of this tunnel effect. And it's kind of cool just to help shake off the rust in the morning and figure out some new design ideas and whatnot. And designer block happens quite often. It's something that just is it's kind of the nature of the beast. You do so many designs over the course of however long a period of time, and you get stuck. Your brain just kind of turns into oatmeal for a while, and it does feel like that everything you put on the screen or on paper or whatnot just doesn't seem to to look right. And so something like this helps just break up your way of thinking and helps you figure out a new approach to things and just get your mind going again. So I'm just going to keep building this, and I might just go ahead and fast forward this little section, and you can kind of see where we're at when we're done. So you can see I've kept just building upon these rings, and a quick way to do this quicker is just to simply grab all your selections, grab a bunch of layers and duplicate them, and then Control T. And then as long as your center point is always right in the middle of this X and Y axis, or in the middle of your canvas, holding Shift and Alt, you can quickly duplicate your shapes and just kind of rotate them and kind of fit the next batch in your design. So I'm just kind of basically just eyeballing this. As long as it's just still in a circular pattern, then you're fine. So I'm gonna do this just a couple more times, or actually one more time, because we're starting to get to where the shapes are gonna get pretty tiny and you're not even gonna really see them. Something like that. So what you can do, let's go ahead and select all layers. And then while holding Shift, if you click the folder icon, you can merge them all into a folder. So I'm just going to call this my circle shapes. You don't really even have to name them, it's just a habit. And then let's go ahead and give these shapes some color. So I'm gonna I have my auto select layer turned on, and I'm just gonna do a gradient overlay on a couple of these shapes. So let's go from white to maybe a gray. Or you know what? Let's go from a light magenta to a darker magenta. Lately I've been liking magenta. I don't know why. I think it's my 80s youth coming back out. So let's do something like that, almost pink. And then copy that layer and simply just kind of, you know, sprinkle it across these other layers. So I'm just going to paste on some random layers just to kind of break it up and give it variety. And, you know, as you're doing this, sometimes you can see, you know, other shapes, you know, and ideas start to surface. Another thing I like to do is patterns. That helps break this up. But I'm just going to keep applying a different color gradient, basically. Let's do a lime to a darker lime, if that is such a color. Is dark lime a color? Oh well, it is now. So let's just copy that layer, and I'm just gonna paste it around and see how this is looking. Let's do kind of a teal for this one, gradient overlay, and let's do a cyan or teal like that, and kind of a darker version, but just a hair like that. There we go. Copy. I think I'm gonna leave that big chunk white. I like how that's gonna kind of break this up a bit. So there you go. Then you just have a bunch of layers of these disc shapes. So next trick is to make a copy of your folder, and then that copy, hit Control E so we merge it, pull that that layer behind everything, and then just simply go to filter and then blur and then Gaussian blur, and that'll give it a glow. There we go. Another trick is to go ahead and take your circle shapes folder again, copy it, Control E, drag it above your blur, but then do a color overlay and set it to, let's do black, and then let's zoom out a bit so we can see this. Then do Control T to transform. Make sure your again that your guide is or your rotation point, I don't know what that's called, the anchor, is dead center, and then Alt and Shift, you know, and pull it out. We're gonna make a kind of a drop shadow. And so that, let's give it a opacity of 25%. And then one more trick, let's do another copy of the circle shapes, your folder, Control E. This time let's go right above the shadow, and then let's go to filter. Let's see, we want blur, radial blur, and we're gonna set that, I've already got it set from a previous one, set it to zoom best, and go ahead and just, you know, put the amount all the way up, hit OK, and watch my computer eat itself. Ooh, there we go. That's kind of cool. Make a nice effect, make a good poster or whatnot. Yeah, and so this circle shapes layer again, let's make another copy. This time leave it above. Control E again, and let's give this let's try a stroke. Let's try an inner glow. There we go. And I kind of like this real pale yellow. Screen, yeah, we can leave it a screen. Size, yeah, let's keep it on the smaller side. Just barely a glow there. And then go to blending options up here and turn the fill opacity down to 0, just in case. And there you have it. One other trick I like to do is to simply, if I remember where I saved it, just to give it some texture in the background. Well, this will work. Let's just use this sandstone looking thing. I think it's big enough. I'm just going to drag this onto my canvas and zoom out so we can scale it down. Let me close this window and drag it to right above your background color, and go to image mode to saturate, and then let's set it to overlay, and then scale it down so it's it just barely fits your canvas size. There we go. That's looking pretty cool, you know. Just something kind of basic and easy, just something to do. Another thing we can do is take your gradient tool and see this one in the middle here, it's called angle. And let's go ahead and really do some blacks and whites and kind of do a, I don't know what you'd call this, like a spectrum type effect. So I'm just simply going black, white, black, white, black, white. And we can do, let's see, let's do this last one on the end. Make a new layer, gradient tool from the center again, just go outward. Ooh. Change that to overlay. Oops, overlay. And let's turn the opacity down to 58. Let's also do another one. So copy that layer. I'm going to zoom out so I can see what I'm doing here. Control T to transform, and we're going to kind of move this one like this, and then I'm just going to use a soft brush eraser tool and just kind of delete the edges, because I don't want these hard edges. And voila, you have a 80s Tron geometric background thingy. Well, you know, this is, I've done so many of these. I did another one earlier. It came out like this, just to kind of, you know, break up the time. And you can start, you know, laying out. You don't have to use discs, right? You can lay out different, you know, different shapes all together. So another thing you can do is kind of add this spectrum type thing, and that is to simply take a 1 pixel, use your shape line tool and just draw a 1 pixel line, and then vertically, and then do another one horizontally, and then rasterize that. Let's hide the guide so you can see this, and then make a duplicate and just simply make sure your anchor point is on the center there, and we'll do 10 degrees. And I'm gonna crop this real quick, and then just keep making copies and rotating them in 10-degree increments. So that one's 20, this one will be 30. Make another duplicate, rotate that one 40, another one, Control T, 50, another one, 60, and we gotta go all the way to 90, 70, forgot where it was, one more, 80. Then take all of those and merge them together, make a copy of that, and go 2 degrees. Then make another copy and go 4 degrees, and you're just going in, you know, increments of 2. So 6, and then 8. And there we go. We have kind of this radial effect. So I'm gonna turn my guides back on, and I'm gonna fade this out. So I'm gonna make a mask and go to your gradient tool again, and let's go to, you just want to go from black to white on the radial one, and just from the center come outward. There we go. Hide the guides, and hopefully something like this will wake your brain up in the morning. It's just a quick effect, something to do, you know. Let me open up this one again side by side so you can kind of see, you know, a different approach. This one was mainly pinks and blues and more gray and black, but yeah, it's you know, we all get designer block, and it's if you need something to do to get going, make some of these goofy shapes, and I promise it'll wake you up. So hope you dug it, and I will talk to you soon. Later.